Coach, over the weekend, spent a lot of time kind of looking at Fresno State numbers from the last couple of years and your ability to run the ball really well there. Can you tell me a little bit about what you brought in your game plan from there to here and your reaction so far to having such a hard time running the ball so far after 3 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's an adjustment. I think every place is a little different, and what we're seeing is a little different too. We saw a lot of odd front stuff there. In the MAC, I saw more 4 down. So every place there's been a little bit of adjustment to not just your personnel, but also what you're seeing. And so there's a lot of things that we're doing that carried over from before, but there's also, kind of my piece that I bring to it, to the run game. So it's certainly, I think, to get to the bottom of it, it's certainly something that we're focused on right now, and something we have been focused on. We need to improve the run game to give ourselves better opportunities, more manageable situations on 3rd down. That's really what it comes down to, is staying on the football field. That was the issue on Saturday. For the most part until the end, the end of the 3rd quarter, we protected the ball. It was on the ground one time there, but we recovered it. So those game-changing plays weren't the issue. It was more of just staying on the football field. But we certainly are addressing the run game. I believe that our guys, we can get it done. It isn't like guys don't care. It's all about we got to find our style, our niche, what fits us, and how it all pulls together with the rest of the offense.
Going along with the running game, Stevie Scott, obviously 1,100 yards last year, was a featured part and expected to be a big part this year. Not able to get him on track. Is he completely healthy? And is it anything to do with him or the running backs, or the hole's not getting open? Have you pinpointed what the problem really is? Right.
No, I don't think there's one specific thing you point to. I think Stevie's completely fine. And I think it's just being in sync. And I look at that, I'm critical of myself too. What am I doing? And what can I do, probably more so, to help us get on track? Is it focusing it on more situational things? Is it trying to establish it more early? Teams have certainly done a good job of loading the box on us and playing man. This last week was kind of their style and being heavy there. So we gotta once in a while live with 2 or 3 yards early in the game and let those plays be 6, 7, and then 10 to 15 as the game goes along. So certainly got to live with that, and I think that's what good running teams do, is they establish it and let that wear down their opponent. So it's just I look at that being critical of myself, just like I ask the guys to be critical of what they put on film and how they played on Saturday. So as a staff, we continue to look at that for sure.
Kind of a play calling question, and I don't know how much, when you kind of scheme with your quarterbacks, you go for stuff like run pass option, but is part of the solution maybe dedicating just more true runs, less sort of, hey, this is one of the options you might have when you get to the line, but you can check out of it if you need to, and just say on certain plays, listen, we're running the ball. This is a run here.
Yeah, no question. And this week there really wasn't as many of those run pass options. I mean, maybe just a couple plays, just because of how they played. There wasn't many times where he had to decide, he being Peyton, on what we're going to do. It was pretty straightforward. And I think it's just a matter of staying ahead of the chains and allowing yourself to feel like, hey, it's okay. Second and 10, we're going to run the football. Get ourselves in a 3rd and 5, 1st and 10. And I keep track, and we chart it all from drive to drive, what our tendencies are, not just from week to week, but also within the game. So, I try to do a good job of keeping the defense off balance with that, as well as trying to see what the defenses are doing against us, on those same situations.
When was it clear to you that Peyton would be the quarterback this week? And when you did as you were preparing for the game, did you have 2 different game plans in mind, not knowing who would start, given the differences in skill set?
Yeah, it really wasn't very clear. But we're not going to use that as a as a reason for not playing as well as we would have liked, because both our quarterbacks know the offense well. Obviously one's left-handed, one's right-handed. There's a few things that they do that they bring to the table, each of their own style. But the week went on and you just didn't kind of know. And so, I prepared mentally and in my mind for either one of those guys to be the guy. So there's no way I'm going to let, being unsure affect, that's why we didn't play as well as we had hoped. So we just keep moving on, and that situation might be the same this next week. And I think our guys went out there and played. We're going to play as hard as they could, no matter who the quarterback was. Peyton's got a lot of snaps under his belt here in this program and done some great things. And so, I think that's the way our guys played. I didn't see one response one way or the other when they felt and knew that Mike wasn't going to be able to play for us. And, I'd expect that to be the case again this week if that happens.
Aside from the long touchdown pass against Ball State, seems like Nick hasn't really gotten too many breakout opportunities in the offense so far. Is there a desire on your part or on the offense's part to try and work him into more plays, just get him more touches with the ball as a playmaker on this team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's been, it's been certainly spread more. D. Hale got in the week 2, got more of them, and I think in this last week it was more of Nick's balls down the field. I think what you're getting at is, can we just get in the ball, shorten in space, and certainly, again, those are all things I totally agree. Like, we analyze that, and how can we, completion percentage be a little bit higher and get more touches, because 5 yards gets us into that situation I was talking about where it's third and more manageable. So, no question about it. Nick's one of our key guys on the offense that we need to be focused on, and how we can get touches. WAP would be another one. Stevie. Obviously D. Hale too. So Fry, just goes down the list. So, we got a lot of good players, and, trying to get them all involved is certainly important to me because I know they all bring something to the table that can help us win.
Obviously, there was no way to know that trick play was going to work out the way it did. But when you're facing teams like Ohio State, is that something you wish you had run a little bit earlier in the game when the score was a little closer?
No, I think I think that was fine. I mean, there's things you try to establish, you don't know that they're going to work, and so sometimes you take those shots and they backfire on you too. But there's a feeling you have when it's the right time, and we needed it, and I felt good about when we called it. So there's a lot that goes into the feel of those situations, and it felt right, and obviously it worked out. So I felt I was hoping it would give us a little bit of a springboard going into the half. There was obviously a deficit, but some momentum that, hopefully we had created, going into the third quarter.
Yeah, just following up on Peyton, how did you evaluate him on film, and how much do you think the pressure kind of affected his ability to run the offense?
Peyton?
Yeah.
Ramsey? Yeah. What was the first question?
Just evaluate him on film, and then also the pass pressure. How did that kind of affect his performance?
Yeah, I mean, we just got him in so many long situations, and there's obviously plays he'd love to have back, some throws he'd love to have back. I think that's the name. That's football, and I mean, there's been that situation for Mike, and you go right on down the line with other guys throughout this year. I mean, that's the way it's going to be for every team across the country. So I thought he competed his tail off for the entire game. I think he was. I mean, really, there was not, as far as missed responsibilities, really none. And, I mean, things are happening fast. I mean, he had some guys closing in on him on the edges, and that's a result of being in the third and long situations and then being able to pin their ears back and us trying to play catch-up, and it all just kind of snowballs on you when you have a 20, 25, 30-point deficit and you're trying to force them. I mean, we're not giving up, so – we're going to keep fighting, and they have a little more of the push-up field, and the pocket collapses. It gets tougher to see through and find windows and know what's coming and still be accurate with your throws. So I thought he did a fine job. Again, there's a couple throws I know that he'd love to have back, a couple reads he'd love to have back, but every quarterback misses reads, misses throws every single week. So. Not a perfect game by any means, and I know he wanted to have a couple back, but he'll improve for sure.
Coach, just what have you seen so far from UConn defensively on film, what they like to do, and what kind of challenges they'll present for you guys?
Right. I think from week 1 to week 2, they improved a lot. They gave up some big plays that really, kind of kept the game where it was at against Wagner. And then against Illinois, they fought and made Illinois have to work. They put them in Illinois in some uncomfortable situations, where there was some pressure on their quarterback. So, it's about us. We certainly are going to respect every team that steps onto the field against us and what they can do. That's our mindset. But we're going to believe in who we are. And, we know that we have the ability to be a good offense, a very good offense. And so it's about us getting back to work and practicing. And, it isn't like there's going to be something. I'm sure they'll have some new wrinkles. They've had, some time to put that in place. But for the most part, there isn't going to be things that we haven't seen or practiced against. It's just going to be a matter of us going out there, executing, and making sure our minds are right when we step on the field on Saturday.
I know it was the tail end of the game and all, but can you tell us a little bit about what you thought about Jack Totos' play? And if Michael can't go this week, if we'll see more of him?
Yeah, I think Jack continues to come along. There's just things that he needs to improve on as far as just like slowing the game down still, and that comes with the reps. And so it's a give and take. Like you said, can we get him more reps to help him feel more comfortable? That's why we put him out there the last 2 weeks. To get him out there and see what he can do. He's certainly super talented as far as throwing the football. He's going to be all in on everything. He's the ultimate team player, and so. But he's got some things that There was a two times, even in the game on Saturday, where he just, it still happened a little bit fast and the reads but he's super young, hasn't taken a lot of snaps. We got to find that fine line, giving him those opportunities to get out there and grow as a football player. Last week was huge for him as a week of practice. Really the previous 2 weeks, he hasn't taken a lot of snaps. Last week he got a lot of snaps in practice, and I think he grew a lot and started feeling more comfortable. Love the smile he brings on his face every single day to the field, and there's no question he is a fighter, and he's going to get better every single time he gets the opportunity.